cancers, we start with the tumors, and then tumors, we go to the benign tumors and the malignant tumors. The malignant tumors are the ones that we call actually the cancers because they spread and they destroy you. And they spread through two different channels. One channel is the blood or the connective tissue. The other channel is the lymphatic system. The ones that spread or prefer to spread through the lymphatic system, we talked about pancreatic cancer and the lung cancer. And the ones that spread through the blood or the connective tissue. So sarcoma spread through blood. The other ones are called carcinoma. If you forget that word carcinoma, just kumbuka carcinoma. Okay? Carcinoma. Carcinoma. Ukikumbuka carcinoma, you will understand. Carcinomas. So carcinomas are spreading through the lymph. In cancer, we have the sarcomas. That's why Kaposi sarcoma is happening through the blood. The leukemias. And then we have this other side, the pancreatic cancer, the lung cancer. We're also going to talk about the colorectal cancer that is actually spreading through the lymph system. And why is that so? It's because the large intestine or the gut is lined by a lot of lymph nodes, a lot of glands. So we call them adenocarcinoma. Adeno means the gland, and then carcinoma is the cancer. So when you see adenocarcinoma, it means cancer of the glands. So the gut is lined by a lot of glands that emit these digestive juices, the hormones and all that. So in the rectum or in the large intestine or even the whole gut, we have all these glands that are lining in. And these glands are the ones that are actually attacked. Now, I want to introduce you to another aspect of cancer so that you get to see the bigger picture. And I know that most of us are, when you read a diagnosis, you're wondering because it's a very long name. It sounds familiar, but it's not familiar. So you go ahead and Google it and you even get more confused. So I want you to understand the basics here. What is cancer? We said there are cells that are multiplying abnormally, they cannot be suppressed, and their death is not controlled. Sindio? And they're coming in as a result of mutations. And that's why we mentioned the three things. We said we have the proto-oncogenes that convert to oncogenes, and then we have the DNA repair genes, and then we have the tumor suppressor genes. So the proto-oncogenes, when they convert to oncogenes, that is cancer, because onco is cancer. The tumor suppressor genes, they're the ones that actually suppress the multiplication and growth of the cancer. So they kill the cancer cells. So if you have lesser tumor suppressor genes, the more the cancer. And then we said you have the DNA repair, which repairs mutations, the genes that help you repair mutations in the DNA or in the genes. So when you have less of these genes that are doing DNA repair, of course, cancer is coming in handy, right? Once you understand those basics, oh, wewe ni daktari, wewe ni oncologist. Oncologist. Anyway, so there are types of cancer growths or cellular growths. I want you to understand this. Anytime you see something called hypertrophy, so these are the 5 classifications of these different growths of cells, okay? So there's one called hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is a natural state where a cell is increasing in the size. So you see when you're going to the gym to lift weights, you go ahead and you crash or you tear the muscles. And then when they heal when you're resting, they can now lift heavier weights. And through that, they hypertrophy. Hypertrophy means they grow big. So this is a cell that actually grows bigger. Same cell growing bigger, one cell growing bigger. That is what we call hypertrophy. Number 2, we have hyperplasia. Now this is where you have a pen and a paper. You must. Hyperplasia, and this will come in handy when we keep on discussing these cancers ahead. So hyperplasia, it means you have cells and these cells are increasing in number. Okay, so remember, hypertrophy is one cell growing bigger. Hyperplasia is multiple cells, they are growing, they're in numbers, they're actually dividing and growing in numbers. That is hyperplasia. There's another one that is called metaplasia. Anytime you hear meta, it is a transition. Meta, we are transitioning. So metaplasia means that we have a type of cell, let's say the epithelial cells, and then they transition from that epithelial cell to another type of epithelial cell. So it is the same type of cells, but inside those type of cells, like in epithelial cells, we have different types of epithelial cells. So if a cell transitions from one type of epithelial cell into another type of epithelial cell, that is now metaplasia. So we are changing from one type to another, but in the same category. And then now we have dysplasia. Dysplasia basically means dysfunctional. So cells are making other cells that are totally dysfunctional, from the word dys. And the last one is neoplasia. Neoplasia, we are forming new things. Gluconeogenesis. Neoplasia. Anytime you see neo, we are associating it, it's a new thing. So one cell is dividing to give you new cells that have different functions. That is now neoplasia. And neoplasia is where the malignancies are. So on that line of ours, where we have tumors and then benign tumors and malignant tumors, this side of malignant tumors is where we have the neoplasia. So therefore, cancer has a chance to actually divide to give you new cells that will definitely destroy your system. And that's how it evades the immune system. Because when you get these new cells, they have a chance to avoid the mechanisms that the immune system has put in place to actually fight the cancer. That's how it becomes a devil. So kama umeshika hizo vitu tano, hypertrophy, and in hypertrophy you'll see people who have an enlarged prostate. That is what we call the benign prostate hypertrophy or hyperplasia. It doesn't matter, but hypertrophy means the prostate cells are growing bigger. So you know now hypertrophy, you know hyperplasia, you know metaplasia, you know dysplasia, and then you know neoplasia. Our focus is on the neoplasia.